I'm going to call the meeting back to order. Is there anything to report from the executive session?
No, ma'am.
Okay, with that, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all. Ms. Harlow, we have some meeting minutes.
We do. We have the special meeting of February 24th.
I have no changes.
Nor do I.
Nor do I.
I'll move to approve.
Second?
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
All right. And then the regular meeting of March 10th.
I have no changes.
Nor do I.
Nor do I.
Move to approve.
Second?
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
Then we have administrative reports.
I think we may have some reports over there.
I do, thank you.
Okay.
Just learned this afternoon that Melissa Cooper, who's our officer assigned to the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force, she's been nominated for the FBI Director's Award, which is a national award for her work on that Christopher Cornell case that's local and made a very big splash in the media. Obviously, that'd be a huge feather in her cap, and it's ours as well, so we're really proud of her. And not sure when we'll find out if she won or not, but just being nominated, I think national is pretty impressive. Second, I just want to update you on our recruitment efforts. For the last 7 years, obviously, we've worked hard to increase our diversity on the police department. It's been a goal for CALEA accreditation that we increase that. We started a mentorship program, and a few months ago, you approved a scholarship program to hire minority subjects. And just to let you know, we've doubled our minority candidates and our employees. We're at 9.52%, and our females are up to 16%. So we've leaps and bounds over what we've done in the past. It's really had a positive effect, and every one of these employees has been quality people that met our standards, and we haven't had to lower any of our standards and look anywhere else.
Is that it for that? Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, I have two items for you this evening. First of all, I met with Andy Holtzhauser, who's the CEO of Greater Cincinnati Energy Alliance, about a new economic development tool called PACE, or Property Assessed Clean Energy. What this PACE program does is it allows Colerain Township businesses to have access to a special type of capital for energy efficiency and renewable energy projects. The role of the township would be to set up a special improvement district to allow for the payback of the capital over time. I'll be bringing to you all at the work session a resolution that just supports the idea and concept, but I just wanted to let you know that I had that conversation last month. Secondly, the Regional Trails Alliance has put together a regional trails plan that connects the entire region all the way up from Dayton over to Indiana and down into northern Kentucky with non-motorized trails. And they asked for our endorsement of their conceptual trails plan. So I'll also be bringing that to you all on the 28th.
And Jeff, both those proposals would have no cost impact on the township?
No cost impact at all. No.
Trustees report.
Sure. Oh, sure.
Sorry,
I'm sorry.
I apologize.
You're on the wrong side of the
No, I
table
should.
now. You're over here. Okay.
I just have two items. First, 2 weeks ago, Hamilton County Public Health presented to several members of the community as well as the leadership team from Colerain the community health assessment for Colerain Township. That document, that presentation is now on our website. It's available. It's being highlighted in the spotlight on the front page. It'll be available for our community to take a look at and see what's going on in Colerain. The We Thrive partnership that the board passed a resolution for, they provided signs for us to post within the community. They'll be posted at 4 of our parks and 2 of our major interchanges. Tim's crew is already working with to get the spots picked out, and the signs will be installed here very shortly. When we get them installed, we'll get a picture of one, and we'll put an explanation up on the web as well so folks know what those signs mean for the community. And last is the strategic planning document that was initiated at the January 24th event is almost completed. We intend, the chiefs and I intend to come back on April 28th at the work session, present a summary of that document to the board, and we'll get the finalized piece out to all the attendees between now and the 28th, so you'll also receive that beforehand so you have a chance to look at it. So we're back on the 28th to present our document.
And just as an update, last night we did our second round of the surveys for the community, and there'll probably be a few more calls for the remainder of the week to our residents. These are random telephone surveys, and as of this Friday, we'll probably cut off the calls, and around May 15th, we should have a full report that will be ready for the next trustee meeting to do a report on what their residents came up with. And I think it's been a great process, and Northern Kentucky University has been great partners on this, and we're excited to see the results. The Gateway project, the Colerain 1794 on the 275 overpass, that should be starting in about 2 weeks, and hopefully take about 4 to 6 weeks to build that. And we're very excited about the new construction there. And we've awarded and had the pre-construct meeting for the Birmingham Utilities at Colerain and Springdale, which is one of our bond capital projects that was recommended by our streetscape. And once again, that will probably start that project in about a month. So we have a lot going on Colerain. Ask people to be patient and vigilant at night, because that's when most of this work's going to take place. But the end result, I think, is going to be great from a traffic and an aesthetic perspective for our residents.
And Ms. Reinhardt, finally, just a few things. With regards to the survey coming up for completion, there was a guest column put in the Northwest Press last week with regards to some of the challenges that we're facing with our public infrastructure. Mr. Lang and I went on Waycross last week to talk about it as well. I'll be creating a focus group over the summer, and I've invited residents to contact me either at jrowan@colerain.org or my direct line at 923-5005 if they have interest in participating, so that we can talk about the challenges we have in addressing our streets, our curbs, our gutters, as well as some of the funding challenges we have in our parks and our senior center as well. So residents that have interest in serving on that focus group, I would ask them to contact me.
Perfect.
Yeah, Jim, I think the administrative team should be commended on starting this conversation. Both the article you wrote, which I think is a start, the survey, which should be interesting, the results from the residents. I would say that now that I think everyone would agree, have stabilized our public safety piece from a financial and operations standpoint, really need to dive into the rest of this operation, starting with the roads. And for that reason, I think it's probably one of the most critical years that this township's going to see with the decisions that are made, along with the Rumpke litigation. So it's a really important year. It doesn't get the same kind of attention that our public safety does, and it's incumbent upon this organization, and again, commending our administration for starting this conversation to begin to engage the residents on those issues, because I do think it's very, very important. So, good work.
I'm glad you made the comment about the construction, because I didn't know what was going on. So I drive that stretch twice a day in and out to downtown. So I'm really glad it's had absolutely zero impact as far as on my commute. I'm sure lots of people are happy, and every day I come home and go, wait, when did that happen? Because they're not out there working, like you said, during the day. So you drive in the next morning, there's stuff out, and you're like, oh, look, all that happened today. So I'm glad that they are doing it at night and not apparently bothering anybody, because there's not houses right there, but yet not really affecting the traffic flow either. So, glad.
Chief Cook, just wanted to thank you and your department for letting me participate in the services on April 4th for Rob and Brian. A tremendous honor for me to represent the township and participate in that. It's for those of us who live through that, you know, it never gets, you never forget, but it's always great to honor those two heroes, and look forward to doing it again as long as I'm a trustee. So
you're very welcome. Thank you for being there.
Yep. Next, we have citizens address, and it does not appear that anyone signed in for citizens address. So we're going to move on to new business.
Awesome. Thank you. I have 2 items for the board's action this evening. The first is a donation acceptance. Point Township Fire and EMS received the donation of a Life Fitness Summit trainer valued at $2,699. The donation was made by the owner of Professional Fitness Services, Mr. Greg Deaton, who's a friend of Paul Jansen and his family. So we appreciate their donation, and they're willing to help keep our firefighters fit and trim for the work that they do. I ask the board's approval.
So moved.
Second.
Peters?
Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Second item is the request for the board's approve the purchase of a Ford Sport Utility Police Vehicle, 2015, 2016, whichever is available at the time of we can move forward. This vehicle is being used quite differently than a regular police vehicle or a regular fire vehicle because it's going to incorporate a partnership between the police and the fire, and it's going to be a frontline service vehicle for paramedics as well as police officers. And it's really going to facilitate a change in the response model or an addition to the response model as we evaluate its success. We've identified areas within the community that we want to serve at a quicker response time, and these officers are going to be working 12-hour shifts and responding as they are rather than waiting for the call. They're going to be proactively out there. So we hope to be able to identify a model that is different, but it can provide some better life safety response or quicker life safety. I don't want to say better because that's not fair to what's currently being provided, but we've identified a need and we believe this can help. And then also additional follow-ups for care and Alzheimer's registrants, as well as the opportunity to change the dynamic in respect to heroin and opioid overdose situations. These officers are going to partner with a third-party private counseling entity that can provide on-site triage and assessment of our overdose victims and hopefully facilitate treatment as well as reducing the issues associated with opiate and heroin overdoses. There's a lot of excitement countywide in respect to that portion of our model, a lot of discussion. It's very interesting to see that that's a missing piece in a lot of people's perspective on this problem, and we're excited to be someone that's pushing out in a different mode. Because of the partnership between the departments, the cost of this vehicle and associated equipment are going to be split evenly between the police and fire. And we intend to keep this at a cost of no more than $30,000. And the board did approve this in the 2015 appropriations. I'd ask for the board's approval to move forward.
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Bitter?
Aye.
Thank you.
I respectfully request approval to purchase one 2015 Ford Taurus to add to our marked police unit fleet. The funds for this purchase will come from two insurance settlements. We had two crashes, unfortunately, where our police vehicles were totaled. One was an unmarked car, one was a marked car. So the insurance settlement came up to $22,400. I learned today that the price for the new car will be $22,900. So we're able to get a brand new vehicle in for about $500. So it's a pretty good deal for us, I think. Ask for your approval to
So
purchase.
moved. Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bitter?
Aye.
Request approval for the hiring of Brandon Ellis to the position of full-time police officer. Brandon will assume the spot left vacant by the creation of the full-time code enforcement officer. Brandon is a 2011 graduate of Western Hills High School and a 2014 graduate of the Great Oak Police Academy. Brandon currently works as an armed security guard. If approved, Brandon's salary would be $47,520.28, and he would serve a one-year probationary period. His appointment would be effective on April 26, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Before we call the roll, I'm just going to state that I'm going to be voting against this, and it's only because I think, as we discussed at the permanent appropriation process, that this position is just inconsistent with the statements that we made to our residents on the results of the Jed Z campaign. This position is effectively backfilling the full-time code enforcement officer, which so it's just an extension of that. And of course, as you know, both, I support your department with all my heart, but on this vote, I'm just going to have to decline.
Just to discuss that further. Obviously, Jeff, I appreciate your perspective, and I do think that Director Malloy and Chief Denny's perspective that this is also a necessary component of public safety, like the broken windows, et cetera. I mean, it's not as easy a call, and I do appreciate kind of what the residents may have bought when the Jed vote went down. But at the end of the day, I think that from an operational standpoint, I do see that the blight in our neighborhoods and the enforcement of our codes, zoning codes, can make a difference with respect to crime. So I'm support this.
Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bitter?
Nay.
My final item is a request for approval of an agreement provide police services to T Northgate Mall LLC, effective May 1st, 2015 through April 30th, 2016, at an annual amount of $309,447. That is an increase of $24,990 over our last contract with Tabani's.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dieters.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
Ms. Ritter.
Aye.
Actually, we have 2 copies of this for you to sign, as there's 2 originals, one for us and one for the contract.
Chief Cook, we'll move on.
Okay, good evening. The fire department has 3 action items for the board to consider tonight. The first one being a part-time pay rate change for firefighter EMT Kirsten Worth, promoting her to the status of firefighter paramedic effective April 12th, 2015. The rate of pay will be $15.62 effective April 12th of 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Peters.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Aye.
Ms. Ritter.
Aye.
Okay, the second item is to recommend the purchase of a 2016 Ford E450 cab and chassis for the remounting and refurbishment of an existing 2006 Ford ambulance. The current unit that we're recommending refurbishment of has excessive mileage and engine hours. Our fleet maintenance manager, using a mathematical formula, taking the road miles and engine hours, is estimated that the mileage has exceeded 425,000 miles on the unit. We've also experienced frequent repairs and costly repairs with this unit. The unit is budgeted for this year for remounting. We've had much success with the remounting and refurbishment process over the years. The cost of the cab and chassis purchased directly from Fuller Ford in Cincinnati is $27,471.50. The removal of the body from the old chassis, refurbishment and remounting of the body onto a new chassis is $48,500 from Braun Industries in Van Wert, Ohio, who is the original manufacturer of the ambulance body.
Motion to approve?
Second. Aye.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Thank you. The third item is to recommend the purchase of 11 GTEC Technology Corporation's computer tablets to replace current tablets used for electronically capturing patient information during emergency medical responses. The current tablets that we're using are 2010 models. They've been instrumental over the past 5 years or so since their use. However, expired warranties, new technology, reliability and excessive repair costs have directed us to seek replacement units for these units. For the past several months, 4 different models, manufacturers have been extensively field tested by our personnel, which has led us to the GTEC models. We feel these are probably the best product for our department's use. The cost of the 11 units is $48,991 from Mobile Tech Consulting of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Chief, you can fund these within your current appropriations this year.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Aye.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
Ritter.
Aye.
I
Thank you
believe
very
that's
much.
all from Public Safety. Public Services.
Good evening. Get my voice back. I have 3 items tonight. The first one is promotion. Respectfully request the board approve the promotion of Maintenance Worker 1, Dan Schulte, to entry-level supervisor foreman at a rate of $27.89. It'll be effective April 21st of 2015.
So moved.
I'll second. Tim, this is a new position. This is a new position in the department, is that true?
Yes, with me moving to where I am now, we had opened up a spot, and it was just a...
Okay, and we're not backfilling his current position, so it's going to be net neutral?
Unfortunately, no. Yeah,
Okay.
right.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I
You already
did.
did, I'm
Yep,
sorry, I'm
sorry.
just writing it. Talking. Mr. Dieters.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Okay, the second item I have is approval of seasonal workers. Recommend approval to hire the following employees to work the gates of Colerain Township parks to sell the 2015 passes and perform the grass cutting abatement work. The rate would be $11 an hour. The effective date would be immediate, and the work would be on an as-needed basis. We have Edward Joseph, George Kramer, Jennifer Brown, Alyssa Donathan.
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Ritter?
Aye.
Okay, and the last I have here is a road acceptance. Respectfully request the board accept Valley Crossing Drive and Forest Valley Drive. It's in the Stone Ridge Estates subdivision. It's Section 3, Block A. We will have a maintenance surety bond and a maintenance contract for a year. And we inspected it and all looks good.
Move to accept.
I'll second. Tim, just out of curiosity, how many road miles does this bring us up to then with this latest acceptance?
This is going to add like point.
I know, but
altogether?
I'm leading up to something here.
We will be closing in on 113. We're 112.
113.
Yeah.
And Dan, if we were a city, where would we rank in Ohio? We'd be 14th, and I'm leading up to something here because I want to echo what Mr. Dieter said during his trustees report. So 14th largest city in Ohio if we were a city,
Close to 13. We're
113
now.
road miles to maintain,
Yes.
and we have no funding source for roads. So again, this is a conversation that's going to be going on this year. I encourage everybody to participate and give us your views, but you can't manufacture money and print it like the federal government when you're Colerain Township, unfortunately. And I don't think this is a situation where we can cut our way to prosperity either. So this is it, and this gave me the opportunity, since we're accepting more roads here, just kind of reinforcing the message that,
Right.
you know, after a while, you're going to reach critical mass.
Agreed.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Mills?
Thank you. Good evening. As you're aware, we have a vacancy on our zoning commission due to the resignation of Mr. Temming. We put out a, a call for applicants, and we received one from Mr. Richard Loff, and I'm happy to recommend that the trustees appoint Mr. Richard Loff to fill the remainder of Mr. Temming's term, which actually expires December 31st, 2015. Mr. Loff has served as the chairman. He's served the township as a distinguished member of the commission in the past, including a year as chairman, and brings quite a bit of insight and experience from the private sector.
So moved.
Second. Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Aye.
The next two items I have for you relate to the update of the comprehensive plan. One, it regards getting the team in place to execute that comprehensive plan update. So I recommend the approval of a contract for services with McBride Dale Colerain for technical services related to the comprehensive plan update, as detailed in the engagement letter attached. In sum, they'll be helping us put together our public outreach strategy and execute that public outreach strategy, and they'll serve as technical advisors as we look to merge our land use plan, comprehensive plan, and various other plans that are sort of out there into one document after 10 years of not having an up-to-date plan.
So moved.
Second.
Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Ritter?
Aye.
I recommend the approval of a contract for services with Mr. Geronimo Lopez for technical services related to the comprehensive plan. Mr. Lopez is a planning student at the College of Design, Art, Architecture, and Planning. He would help us with work specifically related to web design, graphic design, and outreach at a rate of $11 an hour on an as-needed basis.
Second.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Ritter?
Aye. Jeff, before we move on to the next one,
Yes, sir.
so based on your experience and what you believe best practices to be, what would you say is a reasonable period that periodically you have to update your comp plan?
Every 5 years is
So-
sort of the rule of thumb.
And we're about 10 right
10
now.
years, yep.
So I would argue
It's time.
it's been deferred as long as we can, right?
Yep,
Okay.
it's true. Yes. The final item that I have for you this evening is I recommend the authorization for Jim Rowan to execute a revocable license agreement that would allow Chick-fil-A to install landscaping and utilities within the right-of-way of Mall Drive. Mall Drive is a township-owned street. There is a portion of Mall Drive that is currently landscaped, so it looks like sort of a streetscape buffer area. It made the most sense to put the landscaping in that area. This revocable agreement will give them permission to install those things in township-owned property, but if we ever needed to expand the road or do any maintenance, it makes it very clear that it's their responsibility to remove their materials from our right-of-way. So I'm asking for your authorization for Jim to execute that license agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bitter?
Aye.
Thank you.
Jeff, what's the timetable for the comp plan update? Is that a year-long process or longer?
You know, I think that I'd like to have the work done. I'd like to have a draft together by November, and then run it through the process of approval, which is kind of a lengthy process. It has to go to regional planning and back to the zoning commission, and then to you all. So beginning of 2016 is my hope.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure.
On to administration.
Yes, Ms. Reinhardt, members of the board, I'd like to recommend, my first resolution would be to recommend a resolution to award a 1% bonus to all Colerain Township employees. And I'd like to read these whereases because I think this is significant as to why I'm making this recommendation. Whereas the Colerain Township Board of Trustees has committed to reducing expenses by every means possible while still providing effective government due to lack of funds. And whereas the employees of Colerain Township have agreed to 4 years of salary freezes and 20% contribution rates to health insurance programs. And whereas the employees of Colerain Township have committed to reducing health care costs through participation in an employee wellness program that has led to the Colerain Township being recognized as a Healthiest Employer finalist for 2013 and 2014. And whereas significant staffing reductions have occurred within all departments, all the while employees remaining focused on delivering excellence to a best-in-class community. And whereas the employees of Colerain Township recognize the importance of teamwork and one culture through innovation, continuous improvement, and commitment to excellence. This is a bonus. It is not a raise, and it will be based on actual base wage salaries as of 12/31/15. Will be given to full-time and part-time, and this authorizes me to enter into the MOUs with the unions and to draft the guidelines for non-union employees.
And Jim, what would you say the total dollar impact is?
It's around $170,000 for them.
And we would still be technically structurally aligned within our appropriations and our budget, even with this outlay?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I think it's important, again, to emphasize all of those points that you made in the resolution. Keeping and retaining good employees is a critical necessity to every successful organization. And I just think when you look at, in totality, of the tough decisions we made over the last 3 to 4 years, and for the most part, our employees have been there every step of the way with us. And I speak for all of our board, I appreciate it a great deal. And I think this is a gesture to help in retaining good employees, and also a gesture to show our appreciation for the one culture and the teamwork that they've all engaged in over that period of 3 to 4 years when we had to drastically reduce our budget. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bitter?
Aye.
Resolution.
The next item I have is a recommendation to approve a memorandum of understanding between the FOP and the Board of Trustees regarding the retention of police officers hired after May 1 of 2012. Chief Denny, how many officers have we hired since May 1 of 12 under the new salary structure?
I believe we had 13.
About 13 officers. Yes. What we're finding is a number of these officers are being recruited by other townships that have a much higher salary schedule. And we are committed to the new structure with not having a step system. What this MOU would allow us to do is to recognize these new hires under a 1-year probationary period with a slight bump after year 2 to take them from 47,520.28 to 52,000. And then it puts in some performance standards in future years. It would provide for a $3,500 bonus, not a raise, after the 3rd year of employment. It would provide a $2,500 raise after their 6th year of employment, and would provide a $5,000 bonus, not a raise, after their 9th year employment. So the goal is to maintain the long-term cost so that we don't have an accelerating step schedule that is producing a $66,000 salary, but yet still offer some incentives to get these officers to stay around in Colerain Township. So I'd like to recommend approval of this MOU. This is also a major strategy that was identified in the strategic plan under the retention of officers.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
The next item I have is a resolution providing for the issuance of not to exceed $4 million tax increment revenue bonds by Colerain Township, Hamilton County, Ohio, and providing for the pledge of revenues for the payment of such bonds. And this is for the Kroger development.
So moved.
Second. Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt, on the second, that is your presiding officer.
Okay.
The next item I have is a resolution for the purchase of land located at 3618 Springdale Road. The reason for this purchase is we will be taking the bond proceeds and actually acquiring a piece of real estate as part of our investment into the project.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
My next resolution is to recommend authorizing the transfer of real estate located in Colerain Township and owned by Colerain Township, what we just talked about at 3618 Springdale Road, as part of permanent parcel number 510-0103-0018-00 to the Colerain Township, Hamilton County CIC Incorporated. Therefore, we'll be transferring this property to CIC for development purposes.
So moved.
Second. Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
My next recommendation is to approve the participation in the 2016 Ohio Township Association Workers' Compensation Group Rating Program at a projected discount of 35%.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dieter?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
And my final item is a recommendation of a fund transfer from our fire fund to our debt retirement fund to retire fire bonds in the amount of $242,433.76.
So moved.
Second. Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
And that concludes my report.
My turn?
Yeah. Okay.
I have a couple things tonight, but I'll start out by asking for your usual approval of payroll, purchase orders, and receipts.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt? Aye. Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
All right. The first item this evening is approval of our investment policy. We, of course, have an investment policy in place, but there have been some changes to the Ohio Revised Code, and it's a good time, therefore, to update our investment policy for that reason. The biggest thing is that we are not being as specific as we were before. We're basically saying that we will only invest in things that the Ohio Revised Code allows us to do, which obviously makes sense. So this way it allows us to be a little bit more nimble with not having to come to you to approve this. If there's a change to the code, it'll just be that way. One of the largest changes to the code is that we are now allowed to invest in municipal bonds. We're basically, the township is allowed to invest in other municipalities' debt, and which can be a good investment on our part. And there was a 2-hour course that we needed to take to be able to do that, and I did that last Thursday, so we are covered for that. If we decide it's a good instrument for us to be in at the time, we are able. So it's just leaving all of our options open. So if I could get the board's approval of the new investment policy.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt? Aye. Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt, if you would go ahead and sign that for me. And then my last item tonight is something I'm very excited about. When Treasurer Josh Mandel took office, I think the state of Ohio was 47th in a scale of the 50 states of the transparency of our state government. And we are now up to first. And I think a large part of that was a new project of his called Ohio Checkbook, where Treasurer Mandel has taken the state of Ohio's checkbook and put it out there on a website. And it's not just a bunch of PDFs and all of that stuff that you have to go through bit by bit by bit. It's like searching on Google. It's a regular, you type in what you want to know and it pops up. And it's neat because you can, among the state government, you can compare salary expenditures for the Department of Education versus the Department of Natural Resources. So it's a really neat tool that we can all look at to get a better handle on how our state is spending money. And now Treasurer Mandel, in that same spirit of transparency, has opened that up to local governments. Townships, cities, villages, school districts, library systems. We can all put our information up there together with the states. So, therefore, I'm pleased to announce that Colerain Township will be doing that, and we will be getting our data up there to the state to be part of this this initiative. So I'm thrilled about that. I think it will be a great way for our citizens to know where their money is going, and it will be an easy way for everyone to look at everything together. I think it would be really valuable if the other local governments are doing the same thing. Although, like the state, you can compare the department of this and the department of that, you won't directly be able to compare local governments, but at least the information will still be there and you could compare it on your own. So, excited to announce that. We were actually part of the pilot program for this, trying to see how to make it work. And I'm thrilled that they were able to make the technology work and that we're able to go forward with it. So, there we go. That's it.
Is there any further need for executive session? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bitter?
Aye.